this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
With no fees or minimums on checking accounts, it's no wonder that Capital One Bank Guy is so passionate about banking with Capital One. If he were here, he wouldn't just tell you about no fees or minimums. He'd also tell you about how Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. Yep, even on weekends. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bankguy. Capital One N.A., member FDIC.
All cat parents understand the feeling of being totally ignored by your cat and often thinking, does my cat even love me? There's only one solution to solve that, Sheba. Feed your cat Sheba and go from feeling ignored to truly adored in 12 days guaranteed or your money back. Sheba has a menu of products, appetizers, entrees, treats, and even a kittens menu. So Sheba has a product for even the pickiest eater, like Sheba Puree made with bone broth, a smooth and creamy texture that cats love, or Sheba Grilled, protein-rich formula made with real chicken and seafood. To learn more, check out Sheba.com.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know from HowStuffWorks.com.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark, and there's Charles W. Chuck Bryant, and there's Jerry. So it's Stuff You Should Know. And we're doing one of my favorite things, Chuck.
What's that?
Archaeology.
Yeah, we've done a few of these over the years.
Yes, specifically one called Archaeology in a Nutshell, which was mostly about archaeology.
Yeah, and boy, it's hard to find an archaeology article on the internet that doesn't mention Indiana Jones. I'll just say that.
Including this one from Stuff You Should Know, or from How Stuff Works.
That was the 1, 2, 3rd, and 4th word in this article.
Yep. Forget the Indiana Jones fedora.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, no pun intended, hats off to that character for, I mean, he's that character has done so much for the field of archaeology just by existing, you know? Yeah,
for sure. It definitely opened my eyes. Archaeology was one of the first complicated words I could spell as a youngster.
Yeah,
thanks to Indiana Jones.
I bet 95% of archaeologists between the ages of 30 and 55 are there because of Indiana Jones.
Right. And you can usually pick them out because they tend to dress like him.
yeah.
As well.
Like, you really don't need a whip.
No. I don't need it.
Right.
I want it.
You never know.
Yeah. But yeah, he represents, though, this kind of, he represents a type of archaeologist that never actually existed, you know, pulp fiction kind of archaeologist from the 1930s adventures, right?
Yeah.
So that didn't actually, Indiana Jones and his ilk didn't ever really exist. But he also kind of represents this type of archaeology that has become old school for sure and is starting to be replaced. I was going to say slowly being replaced, but I get the impression that it's fairly quickly being replaced by this kind of new method, these new techniques that put together all fall under the name of bioarchaeology.
Right. Which is a sub-genre, not genre, but specialty, subfield. There's a word I'm looking for. I can't find it.
I think subspecialty works, or a specialty.
Yeah, it is a specialty, but I can't.
A sub-umbrella of the umbrella term. A subrella.
Man, it's going to bug me. I'll think of it later.
All right.
So anyway, we're talking about the combining of a lot of different disciplines in archaeology, and they all have great long names like paleodemography, just studying ancient populations, the demographics of those.
Right.
Paleogenetics, which is a big deal, as we'll see, with DNA, scraping some old teeth, you know, finding out what's going on there.
Yeah.
Mortuary studies, which that's the best way to get a date in college.
Right.
If you say you're minoring in mortuary studies.
Right.
What else?
Well, basically anything where you can apply new scientific techniques to the study of bones in particular.
Bones and poop.
That kind of lends itself to being called bioarchaeology. But the field, this little thing that started out, I think, is kind of a fairly specialized subdiscipline of archaeology.
It's the word, subdiscipline.
I think I suggested that, didn't I?
No, I don't think so.
It it's starting to replace archaeology as a whole, from what I can see,
and just
from the outside looking in.
It's becoming archaeology.
Exactly. It's replacing some of these old techniques with these new techniques. It's kind of a technocratic approach to archaeology, and the practices, the best practices they're coming up with are so good that they're kind of undoing old archaeology, and so this specialized field is kind of taking over the field as a whole, and it seems to be the way that archaeology is going. And one of the reasons that just initially it was just like dig up the bones and try to read them in even better ways than the old style of archaeology did.
Right.
But as it's growing as a field or as a subdiscipline, it's starting to try to answer bigger and bigger questions about the people that are being dug up and the populations that they belong to.
Yeah, kind of putting it in a historic context and not just let me look at this one set of bones and what this says about this person. But like you said, they're trying to almost reconstruct societies as a whole and social strata and what they ate and what kind of things killed them and whether or not they accepted outsiders. Like, it's really kind of neat.
It really is.
I like it.
And plus, I mean, this is stuff that archaeology, I guess you could call it old school archaeology, concerned itself with as well. But I get the impression that the old school archaeology was not rooted enough in science, so they were at risk of making grand pronouncements that were not necessarily correct. So
Right.
you just have limited evidence, like this one skeleton or maybe one burial area, and just from a few things that were basically based on observation, just like visual observation, you would extrapolate onto the population as a whole, and you could get that wrong really easily. So what bioarchaeology does is the same thing. You still bury up dead bodies. You surmise things from the way that they were situated, the stuff they were buried with, and all that. But then you also apply scientific investigation like genetics and like using mass spectrometers to isolate isotopes in bones. And then you take that evidence and you apply it to the visual observations you've made, and you get a clearer picture, and you're at less risk of getting it wrong, I think. That's why it's becoming archaeology.
Yeah, and we'll probably talk about this a little more later on, but one of the things I thought was really neat about this is they make the point in our article here that, history is written by historians, so you often just get stories or the history of the more important people.
Right.
And they even quoted a bioarchaeologist in here that says that their goal is to kind of work from the bottom up and to find out what was going on with some of these marginalized people in society, or at the very least, society as a whole, and not just, let's dig up King Tut's tomb, which is great, but who worked on King Tut's tomb? Like, that's interesting.
Exactly, yeah. And so that's basically what's called diplomatic or great man historiography.
Love it.
Which is the study of, that's just digging up King Tut and focusing on him and leaders and rulers. And that's based on the idea that they're the ones who really pushed society forward or in whatever direction it went.
Don't love it.
It was on the rulers. And that's the way that it's been. Like, that's like kind of the Western white patriarchal approach to studying history.
Sure.
What you love and what bioarchaeology has tasked itself with is called history from below, which is, like you said, it's sussing out the common people's lives and figuring out society from there. And one of the neat things about that, Chuck, is imagine if you're just part of a marginalized group today, and you find out from some archaeologists down the road or some historians down the road that actually the group that you're a part of did some really amazing things in this one civilization at this one period in time. That's inspiring. That can inspire people alive today to do great things with their own lives, based on, finding out some neat stuff about their ancestry that would have otherwise been overlooked if their ancestry had never been part of the leadership of a society. Yeah. So there's a lot of value to it.
Yeah, and the term itself, you're more likely, at least at this point, and I think you're right, it is changing, to hear it in America, even though it was first used by a British archaeologist named Sir John Graham Douglas Clark, great British name, in the 1970s. But an American anthropologist named Jane Ellen Buikstra.
That's as good as I could have done.
Buikstra, Buikstra. She's the one who kind of popularized it, and Americans kind of picked up on the term a little more, at least at this point. You're not as likely to hear it in Europe right now.
Right. Well, we're just going to call her Jane Ellen.
Okay.
So Jane Ellen, she was an anthropologist, and she basically took that term bioarchaeology and basically said it was the integration of archaeology and human osteology, which is the study of human bones and what they can tell us, put together to investigate biocultural change. That was her definition of bioarchaeology, and she came up with it in 1977.
Yeah.
And that really kind of is the definition for the field today.
Yeah, she was awesome, actually. I looked into her a little bit. So
does she wear a pith helmet too?
She's probably been a pither at some point.
Sure.
I had a dude write in, actually, that was a fellow pither.
Nice. I saw a couple of people on Twitter saying, like, I had to go look this up, but this is what you're wearing in the pool?
Well, I mean, to be fair, there are the British soldier type tall pith helmets.
With the red feather?
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the low safari type that provides the coverage.
That's precisely what I assumed you were talking about.
Yeah, it'd be just weird to wear the tall one. It's totally normal to wear the other one in a swimming pool.
That's right.
But yeah, this guy was a mail carrier, so.
Oh yeah, it seems like that might be standard issue for the post office. Now that you mention it,
I've seen them before.
I have too.
For the walkers, at least.
Yep. The walkers, the undead ones.
All right. Well, I think we should already take a break since we provided such a nice broad overview.
Gosh.
That's all right.
Sure.
And we'll come back and talk more and more about bones and poop.
All right. Hey, everybody. We're here to talk to you about Wayfair, who believes that spaces should be functional, they should be comfortable, they should be well-designed, and they can be well-designed by you with their help.
Your updated space should feel more comfortable, inviting, and practical for everyday use. And we're talking about outdoor seating. We're talking about grills. We're talking about major appliances. If you need storage solutions, Wayfair can help you out. Patio lighting, rugs, decor. It is your one-stop shop for home.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting nice out, so it's time to think about living outdoors for the next few months. And Wayfair knows that outdoor furniture, it's heavy, it's intimidating to assemble. So Wayfair has stepped in and said, we're going to handle the hard part so you don't have to.
That's right. You can shop Wayfair Verified, your shortcut to the good stuff. And that means their team of product specialists are going to vet everything by hand using a 10-point inspection, testing things like, quality materials, functionality, and features, and even how long it takes to build that piece of furniture. And the overall experience save time, reduce hassle, and improved convenience.
Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. So head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Spectrum Business keeps businesses of all sizes connected seamlessly with fast, reliable internet, advanced Wi-Fi, phone, TV, and mobile services.
That's right. And Spectrum Business offers 100% U.S.-based customer support 24/7 to help you stay up and running. And they offer tailored connectivity solutions with packages built for your business budget.
Yeah, so it's no wonder millions of business owners rely on Spectrum Business to keep them connected. Visit spectrum.com/business to learn more. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas.
All right, so we promised talk of bones and poop. We'll deal with bones first. And bones, most times, unless recently when they found, did you hear just a couple of days ago, they found this couple from World War II frozen in the Swiss Alps.
Yes, and okay, so this couple, it's so tragic, right?
It is.
They had tons of kids that were at home. The dad used to go hiking in the mountains all the time. The mom finally went with him for the first time, and they get lost and they fall into a crevasse and are lost for 70 years.
Yeah. It was
never heard
so
from
sad.
him again. Yeah. And the reason why she never went with her husband before, is because she was pregnant all the time.
Yeah.
So she reared a bunch of kids, fell into a crevasse, died, was lost for 70 years, and then was found again by a ski lift company.
Could you imagine coming across something like that?
It'd be grisly.
In World War II outfits? I mean, not uniform, obviously, but period era clothing?
Yeah.
Man. So anyway, barring something like that, generally what you're going to be left with when people die, that flesh goes away very quickly, and, as far as in a relative sense, and you're going to be left with bones. These skeletons, they're very durable, they're very hard, and they last a very long time. So the best evidence that bioarchaeologists work with, for the most part, are like bones and teeth.
Right, because those, like you said, they last a very, very long time, and there's actually quite a bit you can tell from those things.
Sure.
In fact, I saw an explanation of bioarchaeology, because it's such an evolving field still, Chuck, that the definition, even though Jane Ellen's definition holds pretty well, it's just not set in stone. No one says this is the definition, right?
Right.
So one explanation for bioarchaeology I saw said that it, as a discipline, it views the skeleton as a form of material culture crafted through lived experience.
Whoa,
right?
that's deep.
So the skeleton itself has the markers of all these different things that this person did in their lifetime, had done to them in their lifetime, like, say, an infliction of violence, suffered from in their lifetime, like a disease, ate in their lifetime.
How hard they worked?
Yeah, all of this stuff is left behind in your bones, and we've just recently really figured out how to read this beyond looking at it and visually inspecting it. We've learned how to apply scientific tools like DNA analysis to glean more information from them.
Yeah, it's really neat. Like, did these people, like, it really puts a more broad human aspect to it all, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, did these people suffer as a society? Did they thrive? Were they healthy? Were they sick? What did they overcome? What was their environment like? Like, did they, was it social upheaval that brought them down, or was it, a large wave, or was it a disease from eating the wrong thing?
Right.
It's really interesting. I know I think it was in 2014, and I believe we talked about this on some show, but it might have even been an internet roundup, but they discovered the oldest human poop, 50,000-year-old Neanderthal poop. And they found out that it was a bit of a surprise that they ate a lot of vegetables.
Yeah, I saw this documentary recently called What the Health, I think is what it was called. It's on Netflix or whatever.
So clever.
Right. But there's a ongoing discussion in it about whether humans are actually herbivores or omnivores.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise because they thought that Neanderthals, I think it's tals, right?
I say tals, but I think it is supposed to be tals. I don't know. Well,
they ate largely only meat, and then they found that it's called coprolite, these fossil feces.
Right.
They did eat a lot of meat, obviously, but they were eating, and they couldn't tell from the chemistry analysis of the poop itself, but they did pollen analysis of the area and found that they were eating like berries and nuts and tubers. And it just, overall just gives kind of a more complete picture of something like you were talking about earlier. They previously were like, no, all they did was eat meat.
Well, yeah. Plus also, I mean, think about it. So there's this whole idea that all of the megafauna in North America collapsed like around 12,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And humans get blamed for it. Like we overhunted the megafauna.
Right.
Well, if we find evidence down the road through bioarchaeology that no, actually most of the ancestors who made it to North America, and were living here 12,000 years ago were vegetarians for the most part, they probably didn't overhunt
right.
and drive to extinction the megafauna. It was probably something else that did it. And so, laying it at the feet of these early humans has been kind of a cautionary tale. Like, look what happens.
Yeah.
You can lead to environmental collapse if you don't manage the wildlife correctly. But if that's not actually true, and we find out what did lead to the collapse of the megafauna, then maybe we can protect against that instead.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And just forget the rest of wildlife.
Yeah. You can overhunt all you want.
Well, it's definitely calling into question a lot of things that we took for granted because of just sort of limited science, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Yeah, and there was this Atlas Obscura article we both read about human feces, about coprolite, and the study of it. I think it was something like, to know an ancient civilization, you have to study its feces, or something along those lines.
Yeah, to truly know an ancient society, one must analyze its feces.
Right, and it gives an example of this one archaeologist who was working back in the 60s and is working today. And back in the 60s, when they would find coprolite, they would be like, oh, this is interesting. And then they'd use it for like flying disc contests at lunch, right?
Can you believe it?
This is not that long ago that archaeologists were doing this. And today it's like, you find coprolite, you bag it separately from the other coprolite found. It's going back for genetic analysis. You take half of the sample and preserve it so that you can use it for later analysis when our tools become even more advanced.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a great example of old school archaeology and the new archaeology that's coming up today.
Yeah, like they're looking at it which is a legitimate, important find that can tell you a lot about a society,
right?
Instead of playing frisbee baseball with it,
right?
Or I guess it's frisbee football, right?
Frisbee frolf. They're playing frolf with the poop.
Did you ever play that, frisbee golf?
No.
They have courses for that stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, they definitely do. I'm sure they did in Athens if they don't still.
Well, in true Chuck form, I went so far as to buy a couple of different frisbee golf frisbees and never went.
Oh, you never did, huh?
Nope.
No.
Nope, that's kind of my thing.
Nothing beats sitting around when you're in college.
Yeah, pretty much. So coprolite, it took from the 1960s until just recently. Like even through the 80s and 90s, it said that it was a pretty small field of people that took it seriously, and other people were still, even in the 90s, like, what are you studying poop for?
And to be fair, at the time, especially like back in the 60s, as recently as like the 80s or 90s, I guess, like you were saying, we didn't have anything that we could do with the human poop.
Besides
frolf, yeah. There wasn't anything you could do. I mean, you could break it open and be like, oh, look, a corn seed.
Right.
They were eating corn. That's about the best you could hope for, right? So there wasn't much you could do. But even still, if you look at what we're doing with it today, which is preserving half of the sample for future analysis with better tools that haven't been invented yet, that definitely underscores a mentality that wasn't present before either, which is, this is not the apex yet. We haven't reached the apex of science.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays they can rehydrate it. They can say, hey, there were parasites in this poop.
Yeah.
And in fact, in all the poop of all these people that lived here. So perhaps that's what killed them.
Yep.
And they don't even have to have the stool sample. They can find an ancient latrine and learn a lot from that. And it sounds kind of funny, but you can learn a lot from this stuff.
Well, I remember when I was writing the cannibalism article years back, finding like right around that time, they had found evidence of cannibalism from coprolite, and they had done it really roundabout. They'd found some protein that is only found in human muscle, and they found it in the poop of some southwestern indigenous groups' poop, and they think that it was the result of climate change because the climate had changed and people were starving and they engaged in cannibalism as a result. But that's a pretty sterling example of bioarchaeology in action.
Yeah, this one guy, Pierce Mitchell from University of Cambridge, go
fighting chaplains.
Fighting chaplains. He learned through studying fecal matter that King Richard III had roundworm.
Yeah.
So,
That's great man historiography, though.
Sure.
Boo.
Who cares? All right, so, I didn't expect to go right into poop, but there we did it.
Well, let's talk teeth. Let's go from poop to teeth, the standard.
Yeah, teeth are a big marker. Like if they dug me up one day, they would say, well, this gentleman had at least 2 bad teeth because the only thing left. And I had a brief conversation with the very famous Mike Rowe. For just kind of weirdly had a conversation with him one day about my implants. And he said, oh, you have those implants. And he went, oh, well, just know in 1,000 years, that'll be the only thing left of you.
Right.
So that's kind of good to know.
Sure, yeah. They'll be like, obviously, this person was of higher social status
Yeah, he
because
could afford an implant.
he had implants, yeah.
Or at least dental insurance.
He was probably venerated.
And bury me with my flippers is all I'm going to say too.
Right.
So what they could find out from teeth, or can find out, maybe if the children suffered from malnutrition.
Well, there's a whole thing where when you are malnourished as a child, your teeth form these little lines in them.
Yeah.
As
grooves.
the development is kind of stunted, and they stay there for life, even if you manage to become nourished and survive.
Yeah.
Right? So they can tell what your diet was like as a child from just looking at your teeth.
Well, and can also tell, I guess, when I was talking about how society may have overcome something, maybe they, were close to death and overcame disease
Right.
to end up thriving, but they still had those lines in the teeth.
Right, exactly. They can also tell from teeth, if you crush teeth up and powder them and run them through a mass spectrometer, there's some pretty neat stuff you can do with that, actually. When you're a little kid and you start eating and drinking the local water, there's something called strontium, and it's a stable isotope that's found in the bedrock of your area, and it's specific to your area, your region. It's pretty localized, right?
Yeah.
The type of strontium isotope that's going to be where you live. And when rainwater filters through the bedrock into groundwater and then comes back out and is taken up by plants and enters the water supply, and then your mom eats that plant and then breastfeeds you, those strontium isotopes get transferred to you and they get locked into your teeth for life, right? So where you're born can be isolated by using a mass spectrometer to find what strontium isotopes are in your teeth. That can be done whether you lived 50,000 years ago or were born yesterday. Either way. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I feel like we talked about that before.
There's no way we haven't, right?
Yeah, like something about the water that you drank as a child.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah, totally.
Right, so you're taking in strontium isotopes and you've got those embedded in your teeth. You also get different kinds of isotopes as well. Strontium, lead, oxygen, they all have stable isotopes that get embedded into your skeleton, whether it's your teeth or your bones. But the stuff in your teeth from when you're young stays in there. It's permanently locked in. But the stuff in your bones, remember we did does the body replace itself every 7 or 8 years? Since your skeleton replaces itself on a pretty regular basis, the strontium and the isotopes that are found in your bones later in life are going to be a marker of where you lived close to your death, right?
Yeah.
So if the strontium isotopes in your teeth are different from the strontium isotopes in your bone, well, a bioarchaeologist is going to say, this person migrated.
Yeah.
Where'd they come from? Why did they migrate? Why were they buried with all these great grave goods? Did they come from a different culture and basically end up, becoming venerated in this new culture? Were they like a high priest, or what's the deal? Where did this person come from?
That's amazing.
Yeah. And that's just kind of laying the groundwork now. And we might not have the technology to say, oh, well, this is where he came from, or we don't have the interpretation yet to say this is where they came from and this is what happened when they arrived. But we can create raw data from that for successive generations of archaeologists to look at and use to include it into a better understanding of the population they're examining.
Yeah, and with the mass spectrometer, which we've talked about in other shows too, they do something called stable isotope analysis in terms of also finding out what people ate. If there's a difference in molecular weight, like the ratio of heavy to light particles, they can determine whether someone consumed more carbon or more nitrogen in their lifetime. If they have a lot of nitrogen, maybe they ate a lot of meat, or most likely ate a lot of meat. Or
they just ate handfuls of nitrogen.
Yeah, maybe so. Nice nitrogen fields to come across.
Yeah.
If they have a high ratio of the carbon, maybe they ate a lot of corn, or I guess maize. It's sorghum. That's such a great word.
Sure it is.
Low carbon.
It's an old-timey word. Anytime I hear sorghum, I immediately think overalls.
Yeah, me too. Low ratio of carbon isotopes might mean they ate more potatoes and wheat and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just amazing that science has gotten to this point. You can dig up a bone, find out where someone was from, where they died, and what they ate.
Yep.
Like largely in their life.
Yeah. And again, you're putting it in context with where you're finding this. Like,
yeah, that's already like the story that's already there. Exactly.
You know, because people, if you bury somebody with something, that says a lot. Like just as much as what your bones say about how you lived.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody say like the way that you're treated in death by the people who you're survived by, that says quite a bit as well. So the type of burial, the way that your grave was marked, says a lot about not just you and how you were treated, but also what the society was, found important.
That's true, because you can ask for whatever you want in your burial.
Right.
But someone's got to feel good enough about you to carry that out, carry those wishes out.
They might be like,
sure, we'll do that.
I want to keep this wooden phallus. I don't want you to be buried with it.
True.
Did you see that thing, those mummies that were discovered in China?
I don't think so. These ones Hobby Lobby took?
No, I think that was like Middle Eastern artifacts that Hobby Lobby had, which I don't know anything about that. Do you?
I read briefly after I saw the words Hobby Lobby. I got
What
very
were they
bored.
doing with that stuff?
I don't know. It's very. I don't know.
Bizarre.
I mean, maybe they were collectors.
Maybe, or they were going to turn it into a line of like tasteful home decor.
Probably so.
Well, there was a group of mummies found that belonged to an unnamed population that lived about 4,000 years ago in an autonomous part of China that's now a desert. It's called the Taklamakan Desert. I'm sure I got that 100% right. But the area, the district that they were found near is called the Shohuju district. And the mummies are just incredibly well preserved, so much so that their hair is totally intact. They were buried with these felt hats and fur-lined boots that are totally intact. I think one of them had like a feather in their cap that was intact. Like the preservation is just unheard of. And one of them is so well preserved that she's called the beauty of Shohuju, right?
Yeah.
Where she's just kind of good looking as far as mummies go. Like, go look her up. Don't think I'm a weirdo. You'll feel odd about this after you see her yourself, right?
What was the name again?
The beauty of Shohuju.
Okay.
So, it's not at all pronounced like that, but just type in beauty mummy China or something like that, and it will definitely bring it up. But this unknown group, they would bury their dead with phalluses or vulvas. They were buried with like 13-foot phalluses sticking out of like their graves. They were really into sex for one reason or another, right? And the hats that they were buried in were found in burials in the area 2,000 years later. And so this unknown group that no one has any idea what they were like or what they were into, aside from they were super sexy, right? They think that they know what language they spoke, because the group that had similar hats 2,000 years later was known to speak this one lost language, and it was more related to Latin than, say, like Central Asian, which doesn't really make sense until you find out that some of these mummies actually had red hair and European features, and they think that they were a pastoral group that basically herded their cows all the way from Western Europe over to the deserts of Central China.
Wow.
Isn't that astounding?
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah, but again, bioarchaeology.
All right, well, let's take another break here. We'll talk a little bit about DNA and a little bit about how Hobby Lobby kind of figures into this in a way.
Okay. Spectrum Business keeps businesses of all sizes connected seamlessly with fast, reliable internet, advanced Wi-Fi, phone, TV, and mobile services.
That's right. And Spectrum Business offers 100% U.S.-based customer support 24/7 to help you stay up and running. And they offer tailored connectivity solutions with packages built for your business budget.
Yeah, so it's no wonder millions of business owners rely on Spectrum Business to keep them connected. Visit spectrum.com/business to learn more. Restrictions apply. Service is not available in all areas. If you own a home, you already know stuff breaks. It's not if, it's when. And somehow it's always like the AC in July or the fridge right after you go to the grocery store. That's why you always hear people say they don't make appliances like they used to, because it's kind of true.
That's right. Good thing there's American Home Shield. With an AHS home warranty, they can help fix major home systems and appliance breakdowns like your AC, plumbing, or fridge. And if they can't repair your covered item, they'll replace it, no matter how old it is.
And that's huge because fixing an AC can cost a lot. Like, hey kids, our vacation is canceled a lot. Plus, as a benefit to select plans, you can get real-time video help from live repair experts to troubleshoot home hassles at no extra cost.
Listen, everybody, home ownership is already stressful enough. No need to upset your wallet. So check out American Home Shield now and get 20% off any plan at ahs.com/SYSK and see promo details. See ahs.com/contracts for coverage details, including service fees, limitations, and exclusions. American Home Shield. Don't worry, be warranty.
All right, so we've talked about mass spectrometers.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about good old-fashioned tooth scraping.
Good-looking mummies.
Talked about the sexiest mummies in history.
Right.
I'm sure there's a top 10 list on the internet somewhere.
I'm telling you, you'll be like, oh, well, there's number one.
I got to see this. So I guess DNA is sort of the next place to go. It's they've been using DNA in archaeology for a while, obviously, since the advent of DNA. They've been trying to apply it, but they use it as much as they can now, ancient DNA, because obviously with DNA you can find out all kinds of things, from relatedness to other individuals within a population, marriage patterns maybe, and obviously just something is, I mean, they can tell largely from the bones what kind of sex of an individual, but DNA is the shoe-in.
Yeah, supposedly even if you are sexing an individual by the bone structure, it's still an educated guess. It's not definitive.
Sure.
It's DNA that's the only definitive way to say this is a man or this is a woman.
Yeah, could have been a man with a very dainty frame.
There's this so the mummy is called the Beauty of Xiaohe, which believe it or not is Shohuju.
Yeah.
Shohuju. How's my Chinese?
That was pretty good, actually.
Thanks, man. I'm going the extra step these days and looking up pronunciations and then practicing, which is the second step.
What word was it that shamed you into doing that?
Oh, there's been so many.
Yeah?
I can't bring any to mind. I think I blocked them out to keep any level of self-respect. But there have been plenty, as you're well aware. Can you think of one?
No.
Okay.
Nothing recently.
I'm sure everyone will let us know on the internet.
Oh, I just found the mummy.
Yeah. Am I right or what? That's a good-looking mummy.
Well, I don't know. It's a little weird to say.
It is, but I think when you approach it from like wow, that's a mummy. I can't believe how well preserved it is.
Yeah.
Place instead of like a
sure.
Look at that mummy.
Yeah.
Although, hey man, to each his own. Does that extend to that?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
All right. What else about DNA? Lineages, obviously, it's a very big deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you can find a group burial or basically a cemetery.
Yeah.
And now bioarchaeologists just like to show off by showing who's related to whom.
Yeah.
Just by saying, well, let's look at their genes, their DNA.
Sure.
Which is pretty neat.
Yeah, and as a whole, if you look at a cemetery, finding an individual is great, but when archaeologists can uncover a burial ground, that's when they really kind of lick their chops, because they can learn a lot about like the hierarchy of the society,
right?
What different ones of them ate. Like you said, if they migrated, maybe they were from somewhere else. Where were they born?
Right.
Which says a lot about a population if they took in people from other societies.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Killing them right away.
That's a great point, actually. Yeah. And that actually gives a pretty good example of like the social hierarchy thing. That gives a good example of bioarchaeology in that whereas before you would find a grave and this one had like a marker and the person was buried with a lot of cool stuff, and then it's next to a grave or there's a grave nearby that isn't really buried with as much stuff. So you would say, well, this person was obviously venerated and this was a socially unequal society.
Right.
And it's a pretty good guess. You know, you're probably right. But what bioarchaeology does now is they take that surmising, and then they say, okay, well, this person had a diet that was rich in meat, and this person ate nothing but vegetables. So the rich in meat person who had the nicer grave was probably richer. And let's look at their bones. Oh, well, their bones are less dense, which would indicate they had not engaged in hard labor during their lifetime. Whereas this other person's bones are very dense, which meant that they probably did engage in hard labor. And so you start putting all this stuff together, and you're backing up the surmise that you made about the social strata or stratigraphy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I'm glad at least one person does. And you're basically backing it up rather than just jumping to conclusions and leaving it at that.
Yeah, it's a much more firm science for sure.
Yeah.
So I kind of teased before the break that Hobby Lobby kind of plays a part, but I was referencing in general when it's kind of the anytime we talk about archaeology, there's a certain amount of controversy involved because what you're inherently doing is disturbing ancient graves in almost all cases, unless there are no humans there. But there's going to be some controversy within that. Some people think you shouldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
And then other people have come along the way to at least kind of give a framework of how best to do this, best practices. UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, in 1970 adopted a convention called the Means of Prohibiting and Preventing the Illicit Import, Export, and Transfer of Ownership of Cultural Property.
That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, but basically what it says is, try not to let happen, which is what Hobby Lobby did, which is obviously pay for a cultural object that didn't belong to your people.
Right.
Or
and
you individually.
And right, that's the key. If somebody, even if it's somebody who is a member of, say, like the tribe that artifact comes from, or that skeleton comes from, there's something called cultural patrimony, which is that is an object that belongs to the tribe as a whole, and no individual, including an individual from that tribe, can claim ownership over it or over the tribe, right?
Yeah.
So if the tribe says, no, that's ours, the tribe wins, that individual doesn't.
Yeah, and there's been a really big, and I know we talked about this on other episodes, but there's been a really big push in the past 10 years, but really in the past like 20, 25 years for repatriation of these cultural items here in the U.S. And I think in 1990 they...
George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, they passed a legislation called the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, NAGPRA.
Sure.
Yeah, why not? Not as catchy as UNESCO. That's a good one.
No.
But, like I said, the idea is that you just can't come in here and steal is such a harsh word, but
it's
kind of
grave
what it
rob.
Is. Yeah, it's really tough. I think grave robbing, we did one on that, right? As a whole?
Yeah, remember that one audience member in London called me out and was like, "Are you saying my parents are grave robbers? Because they're both archaeologists." And I was like,
"Oh, of course, that was our live topic."
I said some people would say that for sure.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of like pushback though in some cases because sometimes they end up having to rely on oral history, and I think that the cynics are saying, well, how do we know? They're just saying this stuff. Was passed down orally. Like, show it to me in writing.
Right? They're like,
well, we didn't have writing.
We didn't have an alphabet, dude.
Or you might have to you might have to negotiate with a religious leader, and then another jerk might come along and say, "Oh, wait a minute. These are their religious beliefs, and this is federal law. Like, we have to keep those things separate."
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are all very cynical viewpoints. I think generally bioarchaeologists try as much as possible to work with the local people or the indigenous people and say, hey, this is your stuff. Let us uncover some of your secrets here.
Right.
Unless they're like, no, don't. We don't want the secrets out.
Right.
But, they try to have a good working relationship with the indigenous people.
Well, that's the best way to go forward, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like, I would think, you never know. I'm not going to, obviously, what's important to, like, one Native American tribe might be different for another, but I would think a lot of times they might want some of this stuff highlighted and even, put on display as long as it's a temporary thing and they can get it back,
Yeah, I think it also depends on the context. Like, the turn of the last century was really rife with, you really can't call it anything much more than academically sanctioned grave robbing where, universities of prestigiousness would send off basically guys who amounted to adventurers to go, locate graves and loot them and bring them back for the universities to widen their prestige with these collections, right?
Or for the crown.
Sure. And then if for decades you said, hey, give that back, that was taken by anyone's definition illegally, and the university's like, oh, sorry, no. You're going to be upset about that. Whereas if the person says, well, oh, yes, of course, let's get this back to you. Can we do this analysis on it first?
Right.
And then get it back to you. Or if you discover something, you say, hey, we need to hold a meeting with this local indigenous population saying we found a grave site. We'd really like to excavate it, but it's up to them whether we do or not.
Right.
You're probably going to get a lot better reception than you would if you just rolled right over their wishes and didn't take them into consideration at all.
Well, there's a saying here in the South, Josh, that you've probably heard. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
Right. So true.
It's always been my approach.
Yep. That's why there's always plenty of honey at all of these local meetings of indigenous people when the bioarchaeologists show up.
They're digging that. This is, I just learned this today. They're exhuming Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
A paternity test?
Yeah. They're
Jerry Springer's behind it?
Officially. No, he's not, is he?
No.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't me either.
Officials in Spain are going to break into his tomb, get a DNA sample, and see if this lady, this woman, Pilar Abel, is in fact his daughter.
It's a good name, Pilar.
She's a fortune teller.
Oh, yeah?
She's a little wacky. But
well, apparently her claim's legit enough that they're digging the guy up.
Yeah, Holly from Stuff You Missed in History class and I were talking about this, and I hadn't heard about it yet, and she was telling me about it. She was like, oh, this lady's, she's a piece of work, man. She's wacky. I was like, well, she probably just waltzed into court, and knowing anything about Salvador Dali, the judge was like, yeah, maybe we should look into this.
Right, yeah.
Like two of the great odd figures, or at least one.
Yeah. I like how you just exposed Holly to a lawsuit from this lady.
By saying she was a
wacky.
Wacky? She is
I
wacky.
quote, Holly Fry said wacky.
And of course his family's, the Salvador Dali Foundation is fighting it. But it's going
to keep
forward.
him buried?
Yeah, I think it's interesting when...
Seems a little sentimental for Salvador Dali. It doesn't seem to fit his character, Like, I'm sure he'd be like, whoa, all right, let's get it going.
Yeah.
Dig me up. Dig me up and bury me with the world's best looking mummy.
She said it's she said it's not about the dough. So we'll see.
It's about the money.
Yeah. We'll see about that. It's like tens of millions of dollars at stake here. Easy.
Oh, so she has a claim on his estate is what it is, huh?
Well,
that also explains why the foundation doesn't want her.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Up, huh?
Like if he fathered a child, she is his rightful heir because he didn't have any kids.
I gotcha.
I always always have mixed feelings about that stuff.
How so?
Well, on one hand, it seems like, geez, this person coming along and like trying to get some of this money. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, yeah, but if that's his daughter that he never cared for.
Yeah.
I definitely end up siding with the fact that it is family in the end. But I don't know. It feels a little icky sometimes too.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're digging up a body. You're digging up a body so you can make a claim on money, whether it is about that or not.
It's just all a little
definitely
unsavory.
Involved. But I also feel like there's a certain amount of like reverence for the dead body.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like, no, if he fathered an illegitimate child in life, just because he died doesn't really get him off the hook from, from that.
Yeah.
From whatever consequence that might be, even in death. I don't know. I hadn't really considered it until now, but I guess it is just kind of a icky thing overall. But it's also it's just a dead body. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's a dead body. Doesn't care.
Yeah, I'm not too precious about my remains.
That's good to know because I'm gonna dig you up based on that.
Good. Make me into a bunch of soccer balls.
All right.
Just kick me around the world.
That'd be great, man. What a
Right.
great idea. So, Chuck, let's wrap it up talking about, why this kind of stuff is important. I think we've hit on it like here or there, like explaining the history of a society from, the common people rather than just the leadership gives a better idea of the society. That's definitely one thing.
Oh, for sure.
But also I think that bioarchaeology has kind of tasked itself with using the past, getting a clear picture of the past to explain the present or predict the near future.
Yeah.
Like one thing that a lot of people are trying to figure out is are humans inherently violent? And one way you could kind of provide evidence for that case is, were we violent in the past?
Yeah.
There's a huge, I think we even did an entire episode on that one that was pretty great about whether humans have always been violent. And I think that's one thing that bioarchaeologists are trying to solve is finding evidence of violence or an evidence of a lack of violence in a society that happened before. Another big one is climate change and how humans have responded to that in the past.
Right, and what we can do about it in the future.
Exactly.
Based on that learning.
Yep. And then there's just something to be said about, getting bones out of a grave. There's nothing more satisfying than that. Putting them in a bag, throwing the bag over your shoulder, and walking back to the lab, whistling as you do.
That's right.
The job well done. You got anything else?
I got nothing else, sir.
Okay. Well, I'm sure bioarchaeology will have plenty more for us to talk about in the future, so maybe we'll revisit it. In the meantime, you can type that word, bioarchaeology, into the search bar at howstuffworks.com. And since I said that, it's time for listener mail.
I'm going to call this what was in the subject line, which is, am I an a-hole? Except she really said the word.
Yeah, I know.
This is from Michaela. And I always like these that kind of pose a question to us. So this one does that. Here's what went down, guys. It was a recent conversation with my boyfriend. I stopped at a stop sign at the same time as a car coming from the opposite direction who had a turn signal on. I was going straight. The guy and I both waved for the other to go ahead first. Got a little awkward, but that's not the important part. My boyfriend said he notices that it's usually men who do the wave to usher people at stop signs, and he thinks it's just them trying to be controlling and that they are probably jerks. I wave people through all the time, just trying to be nice and help them get where they're going a little bit faster without worrying about who should technically go first. So I've always assumed that when people do the wave at me, it's because they're trying to be nice. So my questions to you all are, how do you perceive the wave? Am I a controlling a-hole? Is this how my boyfriend perceives the wave? Is he a controlling a-hole? If he sees it that way, and should I stop doing the wave? And that's from Michaela. She said, thanks, I'll be seeing you in Lawrence, Kansas in a couple of months. I've been spreading the good word.
Awesome, thank you.
So Josh, what are your thoughts on the wave?
When I very infrequently wave.
You just go.
No, I guess that's not true. I don't actually wave. I do the, where you like present with your hand, your palm up, and then you kind of move it to one side, like, oh, please, after you.
Sure, yeah.
That's what I do, which I just realized is a form of the wave. And I do that sometimes, but I guess the only time I would do it is when it's not obviously clear who's supposed to go. So I tend to just ask the other person to go ahead. Please, after you, right? I don't think of that as being controlling, but that's exactly what I'm doing, is taking control of the situation.
But not
I'm doing
in a jerky way.
Not trying, to me, just not even giving it a second thought and just in basically pushing through ahead of somebody who may or may not justifiably should have gone first. That's the jerky move to me.
Yeah.
I think it goes both ways. It just depends on your perception of the world. Do you hate people? If so, then you probably find the wave to be controlling and jerky. What about you?
All right. So my 4-way stop sign deal is very deep. It's a very big thing in my life.
Lay it on me.
Well, I've got a lot of thoughts on this. First of all, the worst people in society are people who mistreat children, animals, and elderly. And then right behind them are people that just like run right through a stop sign because they just know, like, I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah, well, they could mistreat children, animals, and the elderly with the front end of their car like that, too.
So those are awful people. As far as the wave, I tend to try and let someone else go first, but I'm also kind of impatient, so you've just got a moment. Like, if you just sit there and dawdle after I wave, I'll either get aggressive with my wave and then kind of look like a jerk, or I'll just go and be like, you had your chance.
Yeah, I do the I just go, where I'm like, all right, see you in hell.
And then the other thing that really bugs me about stop signs lately, I've noticed, is there's a growing segment of society that seems to think, like, it doesn't matter who arrived first. It's just like, I feel like I've been waiting long enough.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Like
that's
heavily
anarchy.
A heavily trafficked 4-way stop, you may be the fourth, and I'm sorry that you feel like you've been sitting there too long, but if you were the fourth one to come to a complete stop, then you got to let the other 3 go, not just like, I think they treat it like, hey, I stopped and now I'm going.
Now there's a sub-discipline to that, Chuck.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Where if somebody is going straight and you're going straight in the other way, you can go straight right then and just use up a turn simultaneously. It actually keeps things going faster.
Yep.
It's not at all rude. Somebody might be like, hey, wait a minute. But if they stop and think for even half of a second, they'll see that you actually did them a favor.
Yeah.
So that is okay, as long as you're not trying it while somebody's turning left in front of you.
Yeah, and there's also the thing that bugs me is when 2 people stop facing each other and you both go at the same time because you think we're both going straight, and they go to turn into you and like honk at you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, let me know which way you're going.
Yeah.
I probably would have let you go anyway.
Right.
But I thought you were going straight.
Got to use that blinker. You'll get a finger if you don't use the blinker.
Whoa.
Not by me. I'm just saying some people.
So anyway, I think out of all the traffic things, even including like highway merging, the 4-way the 4-way stop sign intersection is my most troublesome and frustrating part of driving for me.
Yep.
That's number 1.
Well, now everybody knows, so look out for Chuck, all right?
Yeah.
This is Michaela that brought all this up?
Yeah, Michaela, I hope we explained that. I don't think that means you're a controlling jerk, and I don't think that means your boyfriend is, because he thinks that is what it means either.
Yeah, maybe you guys should just find some other topics to discuss.
Yes, but Michaela, I do think you're with the wrong guy overall, though. You're clearly better than him.
Poor guy. Okay. Wow. I can't believe we're ending it like that. But if you want to get in touch with us like Michaela did, then you can tweet to us at SYSK Podcast. You can hang out with me on Twitter at Josh Clark. You can hang out with Chuck on Facebook at facebook.com/Charles W. Chuck Bryant or /Stuff You Should Know. You can send us an email to stuffpodcast@howstuffworks.com. And as always, join us at our home on the web, stuffyoushouldknow.com.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit howstuffworks.com.
You know, you could be adored by everyone and still completely ignored by your cat. Trust me, I know. But if you feed your cat Sheba, you can go from being ignored to truly adored in 12 days guaranteed or your money back. Sheba has a full menu of products, appetizers, entrees, treats, even a kitten's menu. It's so cute, so Sheba has a product for even the pickiest eater. Like Sheba Puree, it's made with bone broth, their chef-inspired flavors. It's got a smooth and creamy texture that cats love and contains no corn, wheat, soy, or artificial flavors. It's food that your cat's gonna love. To learn more, check out Sheba.com. That's SHEBA.com.
Introducing the all-new Mazda CX-5, featuring more connection.
Hey Google, where's the nearest Pilates class?
Safety that has your back. More discovery on the scenic routes. More passion in the details. And more control in changing weather. The all-new Mazda CX-5. More to move every side of you. See it in 5 films at MazdaUSA.com/5sides.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC. Sequences shortened and simulated.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.